All right, we're going to go ahead and get started for the afternoon. If you're missing a teammate, I'm going to have you work with your teammate to get them caught up so we can continue to move forward, because it really will be a jam-packed afternoon. Earlier today, Amy introduced her unit. Dee shared with you lots of resources from Ohio Means Jobs. Looks like a great website. And then I taught you the unit that I created, Unit 5. So this afternoon, your team is going to begin to develop resources in a unit for the ones that you signed up for. But before we begin that, I want to go back to a couple of resources. Earlier today, April asked you to sign up for a States Connection if you don't have one. I'm going to walk you through the student resources that are there that you can use as a teacher. There's a lot more than just student resources. There's teacher resources as well, but I'll let you explore those on your own. So we're going to go ahead and go out to States Connection, and I didn't know if it was going to work, so like any good teacher, had a backup plan. I already had it pulled up. So I'm going to click on that quick link, States Connection. I'm going to go on as a Ohio teacher. You would have your own username and password. You know that you're in States Connection if it says Welcome Ohio Teachers. If it just says Welcome Teachers, you did not log in correctly and you won't be able to access everything. So this is that free resource for our member states. And there are literally thousands of dollars in free materials behind States Connection. Not just for financial accounting. Pretty much for any course that you teach, there are support materials here for you. So we're going to scroll past some of them and stop at just a couple. So the first one that you might want to use this afternoon is MBA Research and Curriculum Center bookmarks. If you've ever gone looking on the internet for resources to help you teach, you may have done what I used to do before I found these bookmarks and started to use those, right? I'd start doing my own Google searches, and I might find something, but rarely, because it wouldn't match what I needed. More often than not, I'd get distracted, because I'm distracted quite easily. My students knew that. And I would go from researching something to buying something to watching funny videos, right? I do a lot of things, but I'd spend a few hours and come out of, I called it my internet black hole, without anything to support it. So MBA Research has researchers, full-time researchers, that you and I don't have time to do all of that, who when they find a really great site, post it to the bookmarks. It's in alphabetical order, but you can search this. So if you do, here's a hint for any internet document or PDF to be able to search. All you have to do is Control F if there's not a search button. It'll pull it up here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put in accounting and see what comes up. There are 19 references to accounting, and I can use my up and down arrow. So one of the very first things here is accounting tools. So for your units, I would suggest that you come out to States Connection, open bookmarks, see if there's some tools, some lessons, some reading, some activities, videos already created that you could put into your unit or put into your lesson. The next one that's in here, and I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know it's here, and it's one of my favorite resources. It's called Bean Counter. So I didn't teach accounting, but I taught finance. And so when I had to teach finance to students who were avoiding accounting and math like crazy, finance includes some basic accounting, right? They have to know some basic accounting. So my first year I taught the course, smart person that I am, I ran to the accounting teacher and said, I need your first couple of weeks of accounting because I need to teach my students some basic accounting. He gave it to me. He's a great teacher. And I started teaching accounting, right? So I started making them do debits, and they were like glazed over, falling on the floor. Probably if it wasn't past registration time, they would have dropped the class, right? It did not go well at all. Well, I went to States Connection and started looking for stuff. What could I use? And I found this Bean Counting 101. It is as fun a way as you can introduce accounting to students as you're going to get. It's very interactive. There's lots of games. It's pretty much mostly multimedia. It's an awesome, awesome website. It's called Bean Counting. It's in your States Connection, so you'll be able to use it. And April just wants to make sure everyone knows she found it first. Okay, April found it first. Bean Counting 101. But you might be able to use that in your unit, right? So we're not asking you this afternoon to create everything from scratch. Use the resources that are available. So that's under bookmarks, under States Connection. And it's constantly being updated. So don't think that you go out there once. Every time they find a great resource, they put it there. The next are the gray zones. In accounting, do we need to have ethical accountants?
Yes.
We learned that, didn't we, in 2008 in the whole banking industry and everything else, right? So the gray zones are ethical case studies. They're based on real events and real things that have happened. They're very short. You may want to incorporate into your unit a little bit of ethics. And if you do, the case studies are already here. There are actually, April has identified 6 gray zones that speak directly to financial accounting. So if you are doing income statements in your unit, there's an ethical case study, and I can share these with you. I'll probably write them up on the board. Balance sheets, concept of accounting, financial information, lots of gray zones, ethical case studies that you might want to incorporate into your class. Beyond accounting, there's lots of other gray zones as well. And think about using them in lots of different ways. Just like you're all really good teachers, don't always just hand the ethical case study out and say, write a response. Have them blog, make it a ticket out the door, have them discuss it with their boss at work or an adult in their life, right? Have them send a question out, maybe to a SCORE mentor. There are lots of different ways that you can use these ethical case studies to really get kids thinking about their ethics and what would you do in this situation. The next is the MBA Dictionary. The MBA Dictionary is where I go for all of the units that I develop to find the definitions. So instead of trying to find definitions and getting all kinds of different crazy definitions out there, on your unit plan, it asks you to list maybe some definitions. Then you can come right here to MBA Dictionary. Again, do a Control F once you open it. Find the word, copy and paste definitions out. The next section that's just really awesome that I love are action briefs. Our research team does a lot of primary research with CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, lots of top people in companies, and they're asking them about trends. And in fact, we were in Kentucky, our team was in Kentucky yesterday doing research with business leaders in Kentucky, asking them about what's the future going to look like in their industry. What do future employees need to know? What do we need to be concerned about with our high school students and our college students right now? What do we need to be teaching them? We take all that information and our research team writes these trends. So starts at the top, continuously added every time we're out meeting with people, we come back and write these trends. There are a number of trends that you could look at. Analytics, loss, lots of different things, security, those kinds of things. There's an ethics here as well that you could look at for your students. And again, use these trends with your students in financial accounting, but use them with your other students in classes as well. One of the things I love about them is it has what the trend is, but then it has work implications and school implications. So you can use these to have students do a debate. You can have them do a research project around it, be a research project starter, have conversations with adults, etc. There's quite a few Ohio things that are there. And then, not for this particular course, but for other courses that you have, back home, if you've ever developed your own project and rubric and all that, right, that takes a long time. We have free projects. It has all the project management tools, has all the projects, has all the rubrics right there. Go in and look at those. It's 400 and some pages of projects already done for you. Yeah. I know you're all saying, where were you earlier in my life, Brenda? The last piece I want to show you is the rubrics. So just like I have my black hole of the internet, I'm not a rubric writer. I've never been trained. I have my doctorate degree. Nowhere in any class did anyone ever show me how to write a rubric. So I did like whatever other good teacher is. I went back to the internet and Googled Rubicon, Rubistar, Ruba. Somebody give me a rubric that will work on this project, right? Is that not true? Yep. All right, just fess up, because if you're not fessing up, you're not telling me the truth. These are research-based, amazing rubrics already there for you. And not only is the rubric there, but also there are school projects and work projects. So there's many projects already there that you could use with your students. So if in your unit you're developing something where a student would have to make a presentation like I did in my Unit 5, right? It's right there. Making an oral presentation, the rubric's already done. Just use that rubric. Grab it, download it, throw it up into your unit, you're done with that piece, right? I know. If you're crazy, I'm not, but if you are, and you're like, oh my gosh, I love rubrics, I really want to learn how to do a research-based rubric, there is information on how to create your own. I've opened it and then I've closed it. That's all I've ever done with it.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly. You're my kind of teacher.
Brenda,
Yes.
as you transition up, since we have a social studies teacher in the room, why don't you talk about the economics?
Okay. So so any teacher in the state of Ohio, right, can have access to this. My econ teachers, because I say mine, I retired. I still think they're mine. My econ teachers, when I showed this to them, went a little bit crazy because there's quite a bit of stuff for economics in here. So you could share this. If your social studies teachers teach economics in your school, show them how to get an account. Let them use that information. There's a lot of information that will support their courses in there. Several of the projects are econ projects. So yeah. They're pretty amazing, yes. So don't keep this like hidden somewhere. Share information about getting on States Connection. It's important. We want Ohio teachers using this. Okay, so other resources. This is just a listing. I put this in here really just for your use when you get back home. I've uploaded this PowerPoint is in that Dropbox. So if you're ever like, that States Connection, I don't remember what she said, my brain was full. I put a list in here of everything that's on that States Connection. So what else besides States Connection? Think about the people in this room. Think about going out and looking on the internet. Really great resources. As I was developing these units, I was constantly looking for .edu, .orgs, and .govs. I used the Small Business Administration and SCORE a lot as I was developing different units for the class. There's a lot of financial information in SBA.gov and in SCORE as well. Don't forget those CTSOs. BPA and DECA both have projects already developed that might be able to be used in your units. So please go out to BPA's website if you're a BPA advisor or if you have a BPA advisor in your team to look for resources there. DECA's site is not password protected, so anyone can go there, and there are a number of events, case studies, role plays that you can download and put right into your unit and make it work. So at this point, you're going to have time to work on your unit. So let's talk about your unit. April handed out for me, you should have 3 sheets of paper in front of you. One should just have, it should just look like this, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. It says unit plan, lesson, daily section instructions. And then you should have a couple of templates. In your Dropbox, these templates are just really for your use and to look at. Because I'm an old school teacher a little bit, I like to have paper in front of me, even if I have a copy that I can open on my computer. I always like to have a copy. In your Dropbox that Dee made sure that everyone had earlier today, and this time I closed it. I know Dee, I know that's Dee's laugh back there. Dee closed all of my windows every day last week.
It's true.
It is true. And today I closed my own. Wow, I am impressed. There are 93 people already using this Dropbox folder with these courses in it. So I think somebody's doing, Unit 1. So and it doesn't matter which one you open. When you open your unit, so you're going to want to go into Dropbox, go to your unit, and open that folder. You're going to find a copy of the instructional strategies, that stapled copy that Jerry went over with you earlier today with all those units. You're going to find a copy of this handout, which just kind of goes through each of the sections of the lesson plan and describes it in a little bit more detail. You're actually going to see something that you don't have a copy of, tips and reminders, things to think about as you develop your unit. So one of your team might want to pull this up on their computer, just have it there to be thinking about as we develop this unit. Do we have a good time frame? Do we have some checkpoints? Is there a deliverable at the end of this unit? Did we somehow integrate CTSO activities? Those types of things. And then you have your 2 templates. And when you go to open your template, if you just click on it, for some of you, this isn't everybody, and we've had this happen every day over the last 5 days, it will, for some of you, it's going to open up into Microsoft Online. And if you don't have a Microsoft Online account, you're going to start typing in here and it's not going to work. So what you should do, what I suggest everyone does, is go out here somewhere in the white space, right click, and when you right click you can actually download a copy, and you download it right onto your desktop, and now it's a Word document. Okay, and then you have to click Enable Editing, and then you can go ahead and just type right in here, right? You can just type into each of the sections. So that's the daily plan. Let me open up first the unit plan. So you want to spend the first 25 minutes to half hour really having a good conversation, looking at what are the standards, what are the competencies that are in this unit, and then thinking about what do I want at the end? What's my end goal for this unit? What should students be able to do? How are we going to get there? And kind of frame what you're going to do. That's what I did with Unit 5. I was like, how can I do this without just handing them a 10K or handing them reports and saying, all right, now let's do all the financial analysis. So I was like, this really needs to be a project that students can work together on, maybe do a presentation. So that's where I started down that road, thinking about how I wanted that unit to look. And then you're going to see some information in the template that you're going to be able to just type right in, and you're going to be able to replace things with. Okay, we're just going to be able to go ahead and take stuff out from other things and then just replace it and type in it. So what I'd like you to do is to frame the unit plan first. Think about how long it's going to take. Copy and paste from that instructional strategies, the content standards and competencies. Maybe someone could be working on that. And then you can do supplies and glossary, whatever you can get completed. Once you kind of have that framed, then you're going to go over to your daily lesson plan and start filling that in. And you can see a couple of examples here about what that might look like. You may not necessarily have a lesson introduction every day because the lesson might last 2 or 3 days, right? So you would leave it blank where it doesn't make sense. We're going to give you about an hour to really kind of get started, get working. Our team will be walking around, having conversations, finding out what it is you're planning for your unit. In about an hour, we're going to do a quick stop and then have you share out what you're doing, what you're thinking about in case other people have ideas, and then we'll let you work the rest of the time till about 3:30 when we'll have a couple of groups report out on their units. But once we're done, we're going to upload. As you're working, make sure you're saving everything to your desktop, and when we're done at the end of the day, you're going to upload it. So all of you will leave here today with 2 units done completely already, right? And then another 5 or 6 either done or a lot done, right? Done or a lot done.